Leader Pelosi, thank you for taking the time to be with us here today. Let's just jump into it. Leading into the 2020 election, what is going to be on the Democratic Party's platform?
Let me just say that after we do these of the ones in the 100, these 5 categories were over and above everything else in the hundreds of responses. We can take questions on other subjects. So we have important work to do, whether it's, again, our 3 kinds of security: to protect our country, we take the oath to protect, and we believe that there should be fairness that contributes to the growth of our country to keep America. And America is so great. The greatness of America will enable us to withstand even...
Listen, I have to stop you right there because we're pressed for time. But as far as policy goes, leading into 2020, what would you say distinguishes the Democratic Party from Donald Trump?
What would I say? I think, and I want the president to hear me say this, because, Trump keeps saying this, oh, they have this there and they have that there and all that. And when the Speaker of the House, for example, this week said that his budget, his health, the Republicans, the Republicans wanted to look like there's certain things that the Republicans can help us do immediately that are really darkness, and the rest are really.
I have no fucking idea.
And your tabula rasa.
What?
A tabula rasa.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
Nothing. So the whole discussion, and that's where they need and it is one of millions of stories in our country. They're not. Let me just say this, listen up.
I'm listening.
Risk corridors, and the more we hear from you about your experience, the stronger we can make the case about something being. I always say to my colleagues and to the Republicans especially, the plural of anecdote is not data. But if you have enough, if you get data, then it informs how you can make.
Wait.
So I would just say to all of you,
Leader Pelosi,
tabula rasa.
What does the
Tabula rasa.
What does the Democratic Party stand for?
Well, let me just say, we believe that the federal budget should be a statement of our values as a country. What we believe in and what we care about, our priorities should be what we invest in. So again, when we come to these issues, it's about not only provisions and you debate them, this and that. It's about our value system, and we have a real challenge right now.
Okay, great. So as we head into the 2020 election, what are those challenges and what are the policies a Democratic president would push for alongside a Democratic Congress?
We also believe that, again, we are values-based as we go into
now you're
that.
Just trying to piss me off.
The issues that I mentioned. So we think that in terms of advancing the cause.
What cause?
We have to secure our economy, openness and transparency, bigger paychecks, better jobs, better future for all Americans. But recognize that the fight we're in right now is against people who don't even. Do you know it?
Representative Pelosi.
Risk corridors for all
What
Americans.
is your stance on single-payer health care? Does it even matter?
As leader, I don't co-sponsor bills, generally speaking.
Yeah, but do you support it at least?
Again, the members support bills.
Yeah, we got that.
I wanted single payer. I wanted public option. We had public option in the House bill. We couldn't get it.
Yeah, you had to think about that, though, didn't you?
That's a whole discussion for our country. Should health care be a nonprofit? And Jackie's point was really very much to this, because you're talking about profits that shouldn't be there in the system. But I'm with you all the way. I just think that
it sounds like you're not actually.
To do risk corridors is something that affects. One is a thing. We can also raise the. For example, now it took when we did the Affordable Care Act. States had look. Romney Care is what a lot of the Affordable Care is about. If you want to move to a single payer,
Is she drinking?
what you should do is move.
Move to Canada?
Well, if he's ready to do that, but what I want to do is go there with all of you.
Canada?
And there's friends that we've been talking to ever since yesterday saying, so rather than just, although we welcome your, the point about the
Yes,
deductible
please
is,
get to the point.
yeah, sometimes as with all insurance, no pre-existing condition, discrimination. Before the Affordable Care Act, premiums were soaring. People could not stay on, did not have coverage past a risk corridors. So when we're talking about making, and you know what, you would have to be.
Representative Pelosi, what? You know, I don't even know what the hell the point is of this anymore. But anyway, I'll ask it. As long as we have the ACA, what are we doing to keep the cost of premiums from going up and the cost of prescription drugs? What are we doing to bring those prices down? I'm sure I'm going to love this.
Number one, we have to lead the fight to bring down the cost of prescription drugs, but to emphasize that more fully and strengthen that, prescription drug benefits have got the cost of prescription drugs. There are very few industries where competition does not lower cost, and that lowers cost for everyone. No, it increases cost the more. But let me just address your point.
Yes,
And that's
please.
a very important one for any society. Is should healthcare be a for-profit as it competes with nonprofit, as we have so much of in California, and the issue of Tabula rasa.
Christ.
But let me just get to your point.
For the love of
We want
God,
the American people
please.
to speak up on these things. We want lower prescription drug prices. For
Don't
example.
applaud that. She's not saying anything. Thank you. Leader Pelosi, people are sick, they're dying,
People
they
can
can't
die.
afford. They're sick, they're dying, they can't afford
People have died.
they can't afford their medicine. What are you doing to lower cost?
People can die. People have died because they haven't had access. Far fewer, infinitely fewer. Now, when I went to the airport yesterday, because I didn't know if we were even going to make it here today. I kept thinking, don't they know we have a town meeting? But I was able to get out last night, you too, Jackie. When I went into the airport, people were cheering. They were saying, thank you, I have a child with disability. Thank you, my twins were born with pre-existing condition. That everybody
Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what they said.
Sometimes whispering it in my ear because they didn't want everybody else to know. And may I just say to our friends in the press, a story of a person who testified at one of our, a bus trip went around the country. And they ended up at the Capitol. It was the day of the snowstorm, but they still came and we greeted them. And one man said that his son was born with disabilities, and his son is like 2.5 years old now. Already, they would have had $2 million.
Leader Pelosi, will you just say that you're for single-payer health care? I don't even care if you mean it. Will you just say the words, please?
$2 million in hospital costs, not surgery, not doctors, not medicine, in hospital costs. Except we decided, you've heard those stories.
So what are you going to do about it?
And we can do something about that.
Yes.
Look at the risk corridors where the money was set aside
What?
to mitigate for these high costs in certain risk corridors
What the fuck
and the
are you
rest.
talking about?
Because in the Affordable Care Act, one of the things, look,
Jesus Christ.
one of them is to clarify the language, which I think is clear, but to clarify the act.
No, it's
For all
not
the
clear.
makers.
Nothing
For
you're
all the
saying is
makers.
clear.
Whatever it is, Medicare or the Veterans Administration can do that. That's something that would continue to lower cost, even though we've lowered them to a rate of increase. People were losing their health care. And that culturally appropriate centers, which proximity to where people are receiving health care. So when we talk about rising costs, remember this on the premiums. In places where some of it, like in Arizona, Minnesota, or something, where the premiums have gone up. Looking at the Affordable Care Act, you look at where could there be more coverage, increase the 5 to 500% of poverty, and you would always have a tabula rasa.
Thank you. What just happened? I have no fucking idea.